So, the book is Clear Thinking: The Art and Science of Making Better Decisions by Shane Parrish. So, chapter we are reading today is chapter 2.1, Self Accountability. There's the quote: I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. W. E. Henley, Invictus. Self accountability means talk. We will start again. Self accountability means taking responsibility for your abilities, your inabilities, and your actions. If you can't do that, you might never move forward. Give me a second, something is bothering me. Back again. There was some noise in the toilet. Okay, we will start again. Self accountability means taking responsibility for your abilities, your inabilities, and your actions. If you can't do that, you might never move forward. You might not have someone in your life who holds you accountable, but that does not matter. You can hold yourself accountable. Others might not accept more from you, but you can expect more from yourself. No one else need reward or punish you into it. External rewards are nice, but they are optional. You don't need them to do your best. Your honest judgments about yourself are more important than anyone else's. And when you screw up, you should do strong enough to look in the mirror and say, this was my fault. I need to do better. While you may never have asked for it, you are in charge of your own life and a larger part of your outcomes than you may think. People who lack self accountability tend to run on autopilot. This is the exact opposite of commanding your own life. These people constantly succumb to external pressure, seeking rewards, avoiding punishments, and measuring themselves against other people's scoreboards. They are followers, not leaders. They don't take responsibility for their mistakes. Instead, they always try to blame other people, circumstances, or bad luck. Nothing's ever their fault. Well, I have news for you, and it's all your fault. There is always something you can do in the moment today to better your position tomorrow. You might not be able to solve the problem, but your next action will make the situation better or worse. There is always an action you can control, however tiny, that helps you achieve progress. Excuses, excuses. Complaining is not a strategy. You have to work with the world as you find it, not as you would have it be. Jeff Bezos. One Sunday morning, early in my career, I arrived at work to find a colleague of mine already there. We were working on a critical piece of software for an upcoming covert operation. He approached me shortly after I sat down at my desk. That code you were writing was supposed to done 2 days ago. He said, the operations is tonight and we cannot go without you. He said that to test, you have put the whole thing in jeopardy. People are relying on us. In the post 9/11 world, we were all working non stop and were under a lot of pressure. No one was sleeping more than 5 or 6 hours a night. Our health was questionable as we injected ourselves with coffee and Jolt Cola once or twice an hour. We were writing complex mission critical software at the lowest level of the operating system. Difficult stuff even in the best of circumstances. There was no manual for this stuff, and you could not simply Google how to do it. We were breaking new ground. The time pressure did not help. We were doing all we could, yet it never seemed like enough. And after years of 60-hour work weeks and constant pressure, our personal and professional relationships were strained and starting to crack. My response felt completely natural, but I had all of these meetings and got pulled into the other project the director said was top priority, and I explained to work on it Friday morning. But the bus got stuck in the snow and it took 2 hours to get to work. I thought I kept my composer pretty well, but my inner dialogue was even more defensive. It went something like this: dude, cut me some slack. It's Sunday. I have not had a vacation in years. I spend way more time with you than my girlfriend. I am doing the best I can, and nothing I do ever seems to be enough. So you are telling me this was not your fault, he said innocently, setting a trap I didn't see. Look, a lot of stuff came up that I could not control. I said, don't worry, I will get it done today. That's bullshit. It's your fault. Stop making excuses. He turned his back and started walking away. Do what needs to be done, or we will have a call of operations, or we will have to call off the operation because of you, he said without a backward glance. I suddenly felt energized and not with the positive energy of surging toward a goal. The defaults took control. This was ego defending energy. I was defending my territory, defending my very sense of self. There is no greater source of renewable energy in the world than when you are defending your own self image. While my colleague did not threaten me physically, he threatened how I saw myself as working hard and getting things done. And when someone threatens how you see yourself, you stop thinking and start reacting. I began writing up a list of all the things I have done that week, how many hours I have worked, how many projects I would worked on, how many people and operations I would have helped. As I rehearsed these points, I got angrier and angrier. The inertia of my negative emotion turned into a powerful doom loop. I was not conscious of path I was on. I was reacting, not reasoning. My power to make excuses felt limitless. Who is this guy to tell me it's my fault? He does not see what I see. I emailed him the list. It filled over a page. His response arrived a few moments later. I don't care. It's your responsibility to our team and our mission to get your shit done. If you cannot own that, learn from it and figure it out for next time. I don't want to work with you. P.S. Don't blame the bus for being late. Buy a car. What the fuck? My response moved beyond mental and became physical. My heart rate increased and my eyes narrowed as I lost control of my feelings and thoughts. That short, that short email derailed me for a few hours. All the energy we put into defending ourselves comes at the expense of the everything that would make the situation better. Moving on and doing what needs to be done. It's a choice we don't realize we are making. Had someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You are about to spend 3 hours of energy on this. Are you sure you want to do that?" I would have said no. While that email was neither nice nor fair, it was kind and it changed my life. Sure, my colleague could be gentler, but that did not mean he was wrong. Too often, the people we ask for feedback are kind but not nice. Kind people will tell you things a nice person will not. A person will tell you that you have spinach in your teeth. A nice person won't because it's uncomfortable. A kind person will tell you what holds us back even when it's uncomfortable. A nice person avoids giving us critical feedback because they have worried about hurting our feelings. No wonder we end up thinking other people will be interested in our excuses. My team was unmoved by the fact that the bus was late and it was not my fault. All that mattered was the success of the operation, and results are what it usually boils down to. No one cares about your excuses as much as you do. In fact, no one cares about your excuses at all except you. No one cares. It's your fault. When people's reaction have outcomes that don't line up with how they see themselves, they tend to insulate their egos by blaming other people or unfavorable circumstances. Psychologists even have a term for this tendency. They call it self-serving bias, a habit of evaluating things in way that protect or enhance our self-image. Statements like "it was a great idea, just poorly executed," "we did the best we could," and "we never should have been in this situation in the first place" are often manifestations of this bias. Here are the thing. Here is the thing. It might be true, maybe it really was not a bad idea, just bad execution. Maybe you really did do the best you could. Maybe you never should have been in that situation in the first place. Unfortunately, it does not matter. No one cares. None of it changes the outcome or solves the problem that still remain. Not your fault. It's still your responsibility. Just because something happened that was outside of your control does not mean it's not your responsibility to deal with it the best you can. Our desire to protect ourselves prevents us from moving forward. It's tempting to absolve yourself, throwing your hands up and claiming you have no control over the situation you are landed in. And sure, sometimes that's true. There are circumstances of chance that have a negative impact. People suffer misfortunate more misfortune all the time of reasons beyond their control. Stray bullets, diseases, getting stuck by a drunk driver. Complaining does nothing to change the present situation you find yourself in. Though thinking about how it was not your fault does not make anything better. The consequences are still yours to deal with. Always focus on the next move, the one that gets you closer or further from where you want to go. If you play poker, you learn the intuitively you dealt a hand based mostly on luck, feeling sorry for yourself, complaining about the hand you were dealt, or blaming others for how they played their hands only distracts you from what you can control. Your responsibility is to play the hand as best you can. You can put energy into things you control or things you don't control. All the energy you put towards things you don't control comes out of energy you can put towards the things you can. While no one chooses difficult circumstances, adversity provides opportunity. It allows us to test ourselves and see who have become. The test is not against other people, though it's against our former selves. Are we better than we were yesterday? When circumstances are easy, it's hard to distinguish ordinary people from extraordinary ones, or to see the extraordinary within ourselves. As the Roman slave Publilius Cyrus once said, anyone can steer the ship when the sea is calm. The path to being exceptional begins when you decide to be responsible for your actions, no matter the situation. Exceptional people know they can change the hand they have been dealt, dealt, and don't waste time wishing for better ones. They focus instead on how they are going to play the cards they have to achieve the best result. They don't hide behind others. The best people rise to the challenge, whether it is whatever it is. They choose to live up to their best self image instead of surrounding to their fault defaults. One of the most common mistakes people make is bargaining with how the world should work instead of accepting how it does work. Anything you find yourself or your colleagues complaining that's not right or that's not fair or it should not be that way, you are bargaining, not accepting. You want the world to work in a way that is it does not. Failing to accept how the world really works, put your time and energy towards proving how right you are. When the desired results don't materialize, it's easy to blame circumstances or others. I call this the wrong side of right. You are focused on your ego, not the outcome. Solutions appear when you stop bargaining and start accepting the reality of the situation. That's because focusing on the next move rather than how you got there here in the first place. Open opens opens you up to a lot of possibilities. When you put outcome over ego, you get better results. How you respond can always make things better or worse. You cannot control anything, but you can control your response, which makes circumstances better or worse. Each, each response has an impact on the future, taking you either a step closer to or step further from the outcomes you want and the person you want to be. One effective question to ask yourself before you act is, will this action make the future easier or harder? This surprisingly simple question helps change your perspective on the situation and avoid making things worse. As my grandfather and many others used to say, if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you need to do is stop digging. One day in my mid 20s, I found myself mentor's office. In my mentor's office, I had missed out on a promotion, the first one I could one I could I had been up for and failed to get, and I was complaining to him about how unfair it was. Why is this happening to me? I remember saying, is someone trying to send a message? I started talking trash about the person who had made the decision when my mentor cut me off. You are refusing to accept something that already happened, he said, and that's crazy. Crazy? I replied. Yes, it's already happened. You cannot argue with that. Listen, he continued. It really sucks. You are more than qualified, but you did not get it, and there is a reason you did not get it. The key here is to stop blaming others and take ownership. I let his point sink in. He was right. The world did not just happen to me. It was not out to get me. I needed to look inside myself honestly, as is what I would contribute it to this outcome and update my way of doing things. I left my mentor's office. The implication was clear. I could not learn self accountability. I was not going to go very far. Complaining is not a solution. Facing reality is hard. It's much easier to blame things we have no control over than look for our own contributions. Too often we fight against the feedback the world given us to protect our beliefs rather than changing ourselves. We want the world to change, and if we don't have the power to change it, we do the only thing we feel we can do, complain. Complaining is not productive. It only misleads you into thinking that the world should function in a way that it does not. Distancing yourself from reality makes it harder to solve problems you face. There is always something you can do today to make the future easier, though, and the moment you stop complaining is the moment you start finding it. You are not a victim. The most important story is one you tell yourself. While telling yourself a positive story does not ensure a good outcome, telling yourself a negative story often guarantees a bad one. Each of us is the hero of the story we tell ourselves about ourselves. Being at fault when things go wrong does not suit the hero status we ascribe to ourselves. So when it comes to complaining why things went wrong, we look for someone else to blame while pointing fingers when we don't get the results we want might satisfy us in the moment. It does not give us better judgment and it does not make us better people. It's instead a defensive reaction prompted by our ego default, a reaction that keeps us nest, nestled in the arms of weakness and fragility. When you constantly blame circumstances, the environment, or other people, you are effectively claiming that you had little ability to affect the outcome. But that does not what actually happened. The truth is that we make repeated choices in life that becomes habits. Those habits determine our paths, and those paths determine our outcomes. When we explain away those unwanted outcomes, we absolve ourselves of any responsibility for producing them. There's a world for people who always respond to problem by blaming others or circumstances victims. Of course, they are often not actually victims. They just feel like they are, and that feeling gets in way of good judgment. Chronic victims feels helpless, powerless, and often hopeless. Nothing is ever their fault. It is always someone or something else that got in the way. No one begins life wanting to be a chronic victim, but the slow accumulation of responses that avoid responsibility makes it hard for people to see that's what they becoming. Eventually, it's just who they are. There are pointing there are points in the process of becoming a chronic victim when people realize they are lying to themselves. They realize the story they are telling themselves is not quite true. They know they are responsible, but facing reality and taking responsibility is hard. It's uncomfortable. It's so much easier to hide and blame other people, circumstances, or luck. Ironically, the people who care the most about chronic victims often unintentionally encourage their blame game. When things don't go our way, it's natural to vent to family members or close friends. They are loving and supportive and have the best intentions for us. They would love to validate our interpretation of the situation and offer us relief. But when they do that, nothing has changed. Our incorrect view of the world remain intact. They don't encourage us to re-evaluate our pet patterns of thinking, feeling, and acting. And if we don't trust into similar circumstances later on, we would likely respond the same way and get the same disappointing results. On the other hand, have you ever had a friend tells you you messed up pretty bad there? How can I help you make this right? Or let me tell you the one thing I think is holding you back from getting the results you want. If you have a friend like that, call them now and thank them. Their presence in your life is a rare gift. Cherish it. Or perhaps one of your parents has done that for you. When I was 13-year old, I was standing with a group of my friends after school. They were teasing one of our classmates and I was watching. The teachers intervened before things got out of the control, and it ended as quickly as it began. I did not realize, however, that My father was parked nearby watching. When I got into the car, he asked me that what had happened. Nothing, I said. My father looked at me with that parental look. Now, look, I now give my own kids. We were just giving the guy a bit hard time. I said, why? He asked. Everyone was doing it. It was not serious. Relax. He stopped the car in the middle of the road and gave me that look again. You choose to be there and you choose not to stop it. He said, you can't do stuff just because everyone else is doing it and accept to get a free pass. You are responsible for your choices. You better than you were in that. You are better than you were in that moment. Then he did not say another word to me until the next day. The lesson was an important one. The things you choose not to do often matters as much as the things you choose to do. The real test of a person is the degree of which they are willing to non-conform to do the right thing. It took a while for me to realize that he was more disappointed in me for not stopping the others than for being there in the first place. He did not want me to become a passive person, the kind of person whose behavior is dictated by the people and events around him. He did not want me to become a chronic victim of circumstances. No successful person wants to work with a chronic victim. The only people who want to work with the victims are other victims. If you pay attention to chronic victims, you will notice how fragile they are, how dependent their attitude and feelings are on things they don't control. When things go their ways, they are happy. When things don't, they are defensive, passive aggressive, and occasionally aggressive aggressive. If there is spouse, if their spouse is in the bad mood, they are not they are in a bad mood too. If they hit traffic on the way to work, they bring their anger and frustration to work with them. If a project they are leading is not on track, they blame someone on their team. Self accountability is the strength of realizing that even though you don't control everything, you do control how you respond to everything. It's mindset that empowers you to act and not just react to whatever life throws at you. It transforms obstacles into opportunities for learning and growth. It means realizing that the way you respond to hardship matters more than your happiness, than a hardship itself. And it means understanding that the best path is often just as accept things and move on. So that was the chapter 2.1, self accountability. In this chapter, Shane Paris is emphasizing on taking the responsibility and acting in a way we control the narrative, not the people or circumstances around us. Everyone have to take the responsibility of their actions and the results they are getting. For example, if I am stuck in my life and I am thinking why I'm not getting the results I want. It's not the circumstances, it's me only. Probably circumstances are not very ideal, those will be favorable for me, but I can always improvise, I can always take the responsibility and act in a way that the circumstances will become favorable, if not in one form, but in another. This is very basic thing that every person I know, including myself, do in their life. So for years, I'm thinking I should improve this in my life. That include my voice, how I talk, how I think, how I act, and what results I'm getting in my life. Every time I come with an excuse why I'm not able to do that. When I realize this, like all of these things that I'm doing very half-heartedly and without a system, then it makes me responsible to do the things with a plan and with full heart so that I will be successful in them in short time. But if I put situation or the results on the external circumstances, that includes why I'm not able to learn a new language. The reason behind that is because I'm not putting the efforts. It's not that the language is hard. Language is always hard, but millions of people are speaking it. So why I cannot? The risk, the the default thinking will be it's hard, the grammar is hard, it's so difficult that I cannot even remember anything. But other side is I have to take responsibility, I have to read more, I have to talk more, I have to fail multiple times a day to know what is the correct way of saying something. Then I will build my vocabulary, my confidence, and my way to talk this difficult language. This is the only way. Taking the responsibility, take dedicating the time every day to learning this new thing. Speaking with people, even I know I'm not a good speaker. Speaking in easy way, the words I know, so that they understand, I understand them. So I have to take responsibility of everything. So this was one example where I am lacking taking my responsibility. So this book is talking about that. Take the responsibility, do what you can do to improve the circumstances. You can cry about the situations, but they will not give any better result than taking the responsibility and do what needs to be done. Learn about it, implement it, fail, and relearn again and make it your habit so that you are able to do it without thinking. It should become your default behavior. So whenever you are in these sort of circumstances, your default will come out, and your default should be how you want to be react in these sort of circumstances. So do atomic habits and learn from them and make it it's your own default way of doing the things. So tomorrow we will complete chapter 2.2, that is self knowledge. So probably what I'm thinking, this chapter will talk about how we should know about ourselves, how we behave in which circumstances, how we handle our emotions. Because as a human being, we face so many situations throughout the day and we react to them instead of receiving them, accepting them, and then act on them. So, if we know how we work or how our emotions work, probably we will be able to handle them in a good way. So, we will see what this chapter talk about tomorrow. And till then, enjoy the day, and I will work on myself. Ciao.